Please.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-bid conference for the Panglao-Tagbilaran City Offshore Bridge Connector project design and build with contract ID number 25Z00004. This is to connect in Panglao Air Island and Tagbilaran City, the province of Bohol. This is to be implemented under UPMO Beach Management Cluster. The funding source is from the Official Development Assistance Law from the Government of French Republic. And with an approved budget of 6,900,445,483 pesos and 97 centavos and a contract duration of 36 months. This project has a funding allocation from FY 2025 under GAA. For the GOP component, 126,496,000. For FY 2026 under NEP, 258,487,000 and a total of 384,983,000. The objective of this project is to serve as an alternative route to the Jacinto Borja Beach and Ambassador Suarez Beach, and also to improve connectivity between the new Bohol Panglao International Airport and the Tagbilaran Fast Craft Terminal, and further enhance the intermodal transport between two major terminals. This is the project location map. This is the layout of the project, a 4-lane main bridge with bicycle and pedestrian lane on both sides. The bridge length is 1,032.90 linear meter. Then it is the construction of main bridge under design and build scheme. These are the required documents to be submitted by the interested bidders. For the technical component, for local bidders, printed certificate of registration, platinum membership, pick-up license and registration, and in case of joint venture or equivalent for foreign bidders as provided under section 20.2.9.2 of the IRR of RE Code 009. Statement of all its ongoing governments and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or non-similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Statement of bidders' single largest completed contract or SLCC. The net financial contracting capacity competition or the NFCC competition. Joint venture agreement, if applicable, with security in the prescribed form and amount. For the project requirements, you are also required to submit the validate organizational chart of the personnel to be deployed for the procurement project to be bid. List of contractors' personnel to be assigned to the procurement project to be bid with their complete qualifications and experience data, including curriculum vitae of the staff, partners or principal officers, and valid licenses issued by the Professional Regulatory Commission if PPU. And any other documentation is required by prevailing and applicable laws for design professionals. List of contractors' major equipment units which are owned, lease, or other purchase agreements, supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project. For the project requirements, you are also required to submit the following bidders' preliminary engineering design plan, design and construction methods, the environmental, health, and safety management plan commensurate with the proposed scope of works, traffic management, value engineering analysis, the Omnibus Statement ISO 9001 certification and forms included in Section 9 of the bidding documents. As to the eligibility requirement, bidding is restricted to the shortlisted French companies or contractors as recommended by the government of French Republic, mainly Matier SAS, Gagme SA, and Rexinet. The major category of work for the SLCC is BCS CP, bridges, construction, steel superstructure with cast in place piles, and the similar categories of works is BRTSCP or bridges retrofitting steel superstructure with cast in place piles. Required legal contractor's license with a category of at least AAA, size range for roads and bridges of large scale. For bidders with no design and bid projects on its own, it may enter into subcontracting, partnership, or joint venture with design or engineering firms for the design portion of the contract. In this case, the SLCC requirement shall be validated. For the civil works contractor, the bidders must have successfully or substantially completed a construction project where the value of the bidder's participation exceeds 50% of the approved budget for the contract, equivalent to 6,900,445,582.97 pesos, and the SLCC amounting to 3,415,222,791.98 pesos, adjusted to current prices using the Philippine Statistics Authority Consumer Price Indices. For the design consultant, the bidder's designer must have successfully or substantially completed a design of the construction project where the value of the bidder's participation exceeds 50% of the ABC for design, equivalent to 204,290,995 pesos and 44 centavos, and the SLCC amounting to 102,145,497.72 pesos, adjusted to current prices using the Philippine Statistics Authority Consumer Price Indices. For the second envelope or the financial component, you are required to submit the following: bid form indicating the lump sum bid prices, which shall cover the entire project, covering all design and construction costs, supported by the accompanying schedule of price activities and sub-activities and bill of quantities. Schedule of price activities and sub-activities, duly accompanies detailed estimate form, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid. Quarter and payments schedule as a percentage of the lump sum bid price, forms included in Section 9 of the bidding document. As to the bid evaluation for the technical component, in order to pass the first step procedure or the technical evaluation, the bidder shall be rated pass in the following: eligibility criteria, adherence of preliminary design plans to the required MPSS and degree of details, and the quality of personnel to be assigned to the project, which covers suitability of key staff to perform the duties of the particular assignments, and the general qualification and competence, including education and training of the key staff, and should obtain at least 60% in Part 3. Concept of approach and methodology for detailed engineering, design, and construction with emphasis on the clarity, feasibility, innovativeness, and comprehensiveness of the plan approach, and the quality of interpretation of the project problems, risks, and suggested solutions. For the financial component evaluation, the financial component of the bids of each past bidder shall be evaluated using non-discretionary criteria, including the arithmetical corrections for computational errors, and thus determine the correct total calculated bid prices. The BAC shall automatically disqualify any total calculated bid price which exceeds the ABC. The following factors are to be considered in the evaluation of the bid prices. For the completeness of bid, no price in required item, non-complying, indicating a zero or thus free to the government of the Philippines. All prices are deemed to include all taxes. Bids not addressing or providing all the required items in the bidding documents, including where applicable, the bill of quantity shall be considered non-responsive. As to the arithmetical corrections, bid prices in figures versus in words, the words prevails. Total price versus the unit price per item, the unit price per item prevails. Total price versus the actual sum of the component items, the actual sum prevails, and the unit cost in detailed estimate versus the unit cost in the BOQ, the BOQ prevails. If above ABC, automatic non-compliant. For the post-qualification, the BAC will conduct the verification of the legal requirement. These are the licenses, certificates, permits, non-inclusion in blacklist. As to the technical requirement, the key personnel, the minimum work experience requirement should be satisfied. The availability and commitment of major construction equipment, failure of the prospective bidder to state a complete technical description of the pledged equipment and the specific location, whether owned, leased, or other purchase agreement, shall result in the bidder's automatic post disqualification for award of contract and forfeiture of its fleet security per Department Order Number 58 Series of 2012. For the performance in ongoing government and private contracts, negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of the two or more contracts due to the fault of the contractor. Failure of the contractor to commence with their work and complete ongoing contracts in the prescribed date after receipt of the notice of defects and deficiencies. Failure of the contractor to commence repair works on contracts with pending certificates of acceptance in the prescribed date after the receipt of the notice of defects and failures. Substandard quality of works or unsatisfactory performance per contract terms and conditions at the time of inspection, and the authenticity of the bid security. For the financial requirement, the bid price proposal and computation of the net financial contracting capacity or the NXs. For the key personnel for construction or civil works contracts, these are the requirement. One project manager with 12 years total experience and 8 years experience in similar works. The similar works are experiences in safe position with long span bridges, like cable stay, suspension, extra dose, and or other similar bridges. One project engineer with 8 years total experience and 5 years total experience in similar works. One bridge engineer for superstructure with 8 years total experience and 5 years experience in general works. Now, one bridge engineer for substructure with 8 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. The similar works are experiences in safe position in bridges with port piling works. One marine engineer with 8 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. The similar works are experiences in same position in any bridges project. One materials or quality control engineer with 8 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. For the if the materials or quality control engineer is a Filipino, she must be required to be a DPWH materials engineer too. One geodetic engineer with 8 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. One professional electrical engineer with 8 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. One traffic engineer with 8 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. One highway engineer with 8 years experience and total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. One safety engineer with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. The similar works are experiences in same position with long span bridges. One environmental specialist with 5 years total experience and 3 years in similar works. One foreman for superstructure with 8 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. And one foreman for substructure with 8 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. For the detailed engineering design activities, one team leader with 10 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. The similar works are experiences in same position with long span bridges like cable stay, suspension, extra tows, and or other similar bridges. One bridge design engineer with 7 years total experience and 5 years in similar works. One design engineer for substructure with 7 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. One senior geologist with 7 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. Similar works are experiences in same position in any bridges project. One senior bridge architect with 7 years total experience and 5 years experience in similar works. One hydraulic or drainage engineer with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. One geotechnical engineer with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. The similar works are experiences in same position with highway and bridge design as applicable to the position. One geodetic engineer with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works in same position in any bridge project. One geologist with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. One quantity or cost engineer with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. One highway design engineer with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. Same position with highway and bridge design as applicable to the position. One electrical engineer, 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. One ecologist with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. One environmental specialist with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. One GIS specialist with 5 years total experience, 3 years experience in similar works. One GAD specialist with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. And one specification writer with 5 years total experience and 3 years experience in similar works. For the equipment requirement, these are the required minimum equipment as shown in the slides. Subcontracting is allowed. The subcontracted portion shall be limited to components that are not deemed significant or material. The project as determined by the procuring entity. The maximum percentage allowed to be subcontracted shall be 50% of the contract cost. For the award of maximum na po ito. For the award of contract, the contract shall be awarded to the bidder whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated and responsive bid as a result of the detailed evaluation and cost quantification conducted. The successful bidder shall be notified to the issuance of notice of award within the bid validity period. Please take note of the important reminders. The deadline for submission of clarification is until March 7, 2026. You may send your clarification to the email address canlas.ador@dpwh.com.ph, Victoria.ma_Victoria@dpwh.com.ph, and procurement@dpwh.com.ph. The deadline for submission of bids is on March 17, 2026, 10 o'clock p.m. You are required to submit one original copy and 3 duplicate copies and 1 PDF copy of the original bid in flash drive. And you need to submit your bid proposal at bidding room, fifth floor, DPWH Central Office, Bonifacio Drive, Port Area, Manila. 10 o'clock, sir.
Thank you very much, Ma'am. Can you go back with the materials and giving? There is only a minor observation of credited lang daw ilagay ko. Materials. He is required to be, yun, yan daw. He required to be a DP. Accredited DP knowledge, yun lang daw. Yun, katulad sa PE, DP is accredited project engineer, and DP sa taas, DP accredited. If naman lang, pero dapat naging accredited after the DP, diba? Sila naman lalabas it close eh. The other one also passed. Thank you very much. Maybe know from our attendees if you have some queries or questions. Anyway, can you post lang the Anyway, if you have some further queries after this meeting, you are still allowed to email on these 3 addresses for clarification, and the deadline of clarification should be on March 7. And please await our response up to when already?
7 candidates. 14.
So when? We await for our response by up to March 10. You can have your query even tomorrow, but the deadline is only for clarification on March 7. Now await for our response up to March 10. So you need to be more active with browsing the net. Okay? But for the meantime, if you have some queries or questions, sige, please identify yourself. Yeah. And then payment. Discuss. Yes, we'll take note of your comments, but we can answer you by this time. But still, it will be included in our response. Formal response. Okay? Para klaro tayo. Ha? Kaya ko lang kung partial 7.5. Usually kasi it's either nakalagay sa bid document. At tabi na sa bid document yun. So 7.5, 7.5 or straight 58 optional. Para namin yun. But we will check on the bid document. But definitely that's in the bid document. But we will check for your records for information. So we kindly right. Wala.
is indicated in the SEC Special Conditions of Contract, item 1. The procuring entity shall, upon written request of the contractor, which shall be submitted as contract document, make an advance payment to the contractor in an amount not to exceed 15% of the total contract price, to be made into installments as follows. First, the first installment, which will be used in the design component of the contract, shall be in an amount not exceeding 15% of the detailed engineering design portion of the contract cost. On the second installment, which will be used in the construction component of the contract, shall be in the amount not exceeding 15% of the civil works portion of the contract cost.
15 mo na, isa design. Maliit. Hindi lang naman muna sila. Okay, anyway, that's part of the documents of the SAC. Any other? Yes, sir.
Regarding those meeting documents, do we need to buy the meeting documents? No, no, sir. In the previous week, we already got the meeting documents. 26 million people. So we opened again. Are we supposed to buy new set based?
Hindi, tinatanong niya mamali kasi dati meron na tayo category about PD documents. But now,
So for a moment, kasi
you check natin yung bakit. Anyway, waiting for the validation if you still have another queries. Ma'am, sirs, so this is the only one, the last one that being held for us to answer. Because it's, yeah, anyway, even you can also put in writing this one that we have queried, the first one. Anyway, we're going to answer all of these things naman. Pati yung na-mention ni ma'am, kahit na hindi na ito in writing, you will be answered and clarified for your March 10, up to March 10. Sige ma'am, just a background for your end. Ano?
there's no need to buy another one. You push another window without window. Because you already paid the.
Paano nila kukuha?
Mag-issue to buy ready for the top of the document service.
Okay, good. Any other queries? No, no further? Sige.
We get proof that we already purchased this.
You have the receipt, right? That's your proof on that. Okay.
So what's the new one for the
So just show the receipt and you to show a loan. It's very important.
Okay. Sino bayad kayo ulit, boss? Thank you very much for making. So you have no further comments at all. No, we're on behalf, yeah, kindly write a clarification letter if you still have some queries or further questions. And as we inform you, it's March 10 is our last date of replying, okay, and posting our answers, okay. So since no further questions, queries, we're thanking all of you for attending this activity. Thank you very much. And